All right, y'all, it's Quantum Home Mechanic. Today we're going to be talking about wrenches, and I want to structure this such in a fashion that anyone can get some use out of it. We're going to start with the at-home DIYers, the guys that kind of work on their own stuff, their own cars, and then we're going to move into, kind of more advanced level stuff. So starting from the left, I'm going to start with these right here. Okay, these are the Pittsburgh wrenches. These are the cheapest wrenches you can buy. I buy these when they go on sale at Harbor Freight. I probably have 3 or 4 of these sets. They work really good as gifts for guys that really just want to have a pair of wrenches that they don't work on anything. They work as Christmas gifts like that. But they're really good for a professional mechanic as well, because you can cut these, slim them down, you can chop them in half, you can weld them together, you can bend them, you can do all kinds of stuff because you don't really care about them. And they do have a lifetime warranty, which is good. Now, I would stray away from using these on a daily basis because they're honestly they kind of suck. The opening doesn't have the tightest of clearances, tightest of tolerances. It's just not the best wrench to use. I have never used these professionally on a day-to-day basis, but like I said, I do keep them on the van for those reasons. But if you're working on your own stuff, or even at home, or projects around the house, stuff like that, these work great. Or like I said, just to have spares of. I always think it's a good idea to have a set of metric and at least a cheap set of standards, even though nowadays everything is metric. Everyone should know that by now. But there's times where you come across and you need some standard stuff. I do a lot of work on classic cars, so I still have me some nice standard wrenches. But by and far, you should really focus on metric. Put your money into the metric stuff, and then if you have some leftovers, or if you just want to buy some extras or something, get something on the cheaper side for standard. Okay, so let's talk into kind of entry-level professional mechanics. I think everybody needs a good set of wrenches like this. These are the ones from Icon with the teeth in here. They're very affordable. They're very good. The lifetime warranty is fantastic. I've been using these for I don't know, maybe 6 months or so, 8 months, and they've just been really, really, really good. You got to have a standard wrench like this because they're small. Okay, the head is small on the open end. They're thin. Okay, they get into places that you might not be able to get a different type of wrench into. Okay, so you should definitely start with a wrench like this. Definitely have something like this that you can go to when you need it. Okay, you can obviously use it like this, but you can turn it around, use it like this. Another a good way to do it. Let's say you just got a little bit of room to turn something, you can turn it this way to get a little bit of rotation, and then flip the wrench over and turn it this way to get a little bit more rotation. Some people think you have to just use it one way or the other, but that's not necessarily true. Really, really good wrenches. These are from Icon. All other, RBRT, Snap-on, obviously. Once again, I always tell people, buy what you can afford and then upgrade from there. But I've had these and never really felt the need to upgrade to the Snap-on ones, so to speak. So really, really good wrenches. Next is ratcheting wrenches, okay? And I'm going to talk about these types of ratcheting wrenches, shorter ratcheting wrenches with an open end, okay? These are my absolute favorite from Gear Wrench, okay? They flex in both directions. There's no switch to accidentally to hit or anything like that. You can get any direction you want on it. These are the wrenches I use the most coming up as a technician. Okay, they're fast, they're quick. You can really palm it. You can get a lot of work done with these wrenches, and I use them to break bolts and fasteners all the time. I don't care. These are really good. The problem is, and these are 212s we're comparing, is that the head is just a little bit big. Okay, the head's a little bit big and a little bit wide. It's a little bit tall. Okay, so the issue with these is they don't always fit into every single nook and cranny. All right, now these are the fixed wrenches with a fixed offset and a switch. Okay, I don't particularly like these style of wrenches. I have them, obviously I have them, but I don't like them. I much, 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 much prefer these flexible head wrenches. Now, the reason being is they're just a lot more versatile. Okay, I don't. Yes, these are cheaper, right? Okay, got it. But it's really just not worth it. It really limits what you can do with them. And these have a chamfer on one side and no chamfer on the other, so you can't actually use these upside down. You have to use them in this fashion, which is a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. They also make them where they're completely straight with no offset, and you just flip the wrench over to do tightening or loosening counterclockwise or clockwise. I don't like those either. I find that a straight wrench just really limits what you can do with it. So you got to, in my opinion, you got to have a little bit of offset. If you need something straight, you use the open end, right? But so anyway, yeah, not my favorite style of wrenches. This right here, this is the go-to. This is something I would recommend you that you upgrade to very early on. These are really good. This is kind of the more serious mechanic. You know, maybe you're coming off of the oil change lineup, and you're going up, you're moving up in the world. This is definitely something I'd get. Really, really great for alternator starters. You know, just anything where you have to reach your hand down into something, and you don't want to accidentally flip the switch, and these are they're they're pretty tight. The heads don't flop around, and if they do, for gear wrenches, lifetime warranty. I've actually warranted this one out recently. The old school ones, they're 72 teeth, and they have little serrations on the side, which I like better. But this one's nice too. It's 90 tooth. I don't have any complaints with it. Okay, really good wrenches, and very affordable, especially if you get them on sale. Okay, now the next two wrenches I'm going to talk about are definitely going to be for the higher end professional mechanics. Okay, starting with this wrench right here. This is by far my favorite style of wrench. Okay, these mountain branded, whatever you want to call them, wrenches. Okay, double box on both ends. They have a little switch on both sides. They flex. Okay, really good. These are the wrench I grabbed first before anything. If you look at my go-to box, you'll see I have a number of them right here. They're the ones I grabbed before anything else for a number of reasons. They're long. Okay, length is very important to me. Not only does it let you get into tight spaces that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get into without having to hit or bang your knuckles up, but it also gives you that leverage. So I use these as serpentine belt tools, to take the tension off the tensioner. I use these for all kinds of things, and they're just absolutely fantastic. Brake caliper bolts, mounting bracket bolts, suspension work, anything you can think of, I use these for. These are my go-to, and they're nice. Yeah, you can't really choke up on it, right, to get it done fast because you got a lot of weight hanging over here. But once again, buy it, use a different tool or something like that. But these are just really good, really good. And I use them for brake and fasteners. These are, exhaust manifolds, where you have to really tuck it up into something. These are just really good wrenches. I absolutely adore these wrenches. Really great. They're pricey, and you can get them for cheaper. I definitely recommend you get it from a brand that you can warranty out. Okay. If you get them online, you won't always be able to warranty them out. But if you get them in store like Harbor Freight, the Icon, lifetime warranty, go in the store, get a new one, walk out. Obviously, they have much more expensive versions from the Matco and Snap-on guys, but these have held up really well, and they're actually pretty affordable, especially if you buy this with a coupon. So really highly recommend these wrenches. Just phenomenal. Now they make a version like this that are a slight offset, this right here, but they don't ratchet and they don't flex, and those are good. Don't get me wrong, but these are just a little bit more versatile, in my opinion. Okay, so really nice. Some honorable mentions, I guess we could call it, are these double offset box end wrenches from Snap-on, or really anybody. But these are nice because this is 12 and 14. So if I'm working on a really Toyota Honda, I know I can just grab this, and it's either going to be a 12 or a 14, right? So I've gotten pretty good at eyeballing sizes over the years. I've been doing this since 2005, but every once in a while, you come across something like, let's say, an alternator, to keep it simple, where it's a 12 on bottom and a 14 on top. So you just grab this wrench and you get to it. This is really good because it has the common sizes. Same thing. This is a 8 and 10 right up here. If you work on a lot of like Chrysler, you get a 13, 15. And that's what's really nice about these wrenches, is that the sizes make sense. So what's really frustrating to me is when you have a manufacturer that goes maybe 8, 9, and then 10 and 11, and then 12 and 13. That just doesn't make sense. 12 and 14 makes sense because when you're working on those Japanese cars, that's what you're going to get. Look at this. 13 and 15, right? That makes sense. When I'm working on a Chrysler, that's what I'm going to use, right? We have 16, 18, 17, 19. Those make sense. Even though they're not in order, so to speak, they make sense on how they're paired together. Okay. And then we have the 8 and 10 up here. Okay. So just really good. And think about that from an efficiency standpoint, right? Okay. So some honorable mentions that you're also going to need. And these are kind of, I would say this is a luxury right here. These thin wrenches, there's only really 2 or 3 instances where these come in handy, but they're mostly for brake caliper slide pins or sway bar end links, suspension components, stuff like that. We have to slide this in between something that's really narrow in order to get it out. And once again, these sizes don't make sense. Look, 12 and 13. 12 and 14 makes sense, but 12 and 13 not so much. Okay. And these are cheap. They came on a roll from Amazon. They're nice to have, but I feel like I could probably break this in half if I gave it enough force. And a luxury because there's other tools you can use. You could buy get those cheap ones, shave them down. That's what I did for years until I got a pair of these. Or use a good pair of channel locks that are nice and thin that you can slide up in between something. Okay, so just kind of like a luxury tool. And this is something that you should also have if you're doing anything related to brake work. If you're doing brake lines or hydraulic lines, power steering lines, these are really, really useful. I use the cheap Pittsburgh versions. I know Williams, and there's a ton of other different brands that make better versions of this. But this has helped me. This has held up really well for me for a long time, and so I have no complaints. They as a matter of fact, I keep one on my brake kit here. If you guys haven't seen my video on the tour, I keep my most common use size line wrenches here, and I use them for bleeding brakes. Whenever I'm done with a customer's brake job, I like to do a brake flush, and that's what I use for it. And it's right there, it's ready to go. And they're cheap enough that if I lose one or for whatever reason I have to modify it, I don't care, right? Some things I would steer clear from. So this is Husky. These are like really, really short wrenches that you can get in a set. I have a set of Cobolts as well. But the problem is that, look at those. I mean, just looking at it, you can tell you wouldn't really want to use it. Okay, they're so sloppy. This will almost guarantee to strip out whatever fastener you're working on. I would steer clear of these. I don't really have a set of stubby wrenches, and maybe I should, but I just don't because the instances that does render it useful for me are few and far between. And especially having something this small, for me, I really don't need it for the type of work. And I work on all makes and models, and I've never really felt the need for something like this, especially these cheap ones that are, just not worth it. Some other honorable mentions here. This is an old Craftsman one. I've had this for a long time. Made in America. I have a whole set of Craftsman wrenches, and luckily for me, that's what I got started on. But these don't have any of that, the teeth right there, right? Unlike these Icon ones that do. Okay, I do appreciate that this is made in America, but kind of hard to get an American-made wrench these days that are affordable. So the Icon is a really good close runner-up. So yeah, if you have a set of these rolling around, grandpa's or dad's toolbox, definitely you want to save them and keep them. They're really great. And then these old Snap-on wrenches, I've had these forever. These work really well. This is before they had this is not the the ones with teeth, but they work great. And this is the standard sizes, and I don't really find myself in the need for a really, really, really nice standard wrench these days anymore. So yeah, that's it. That's my take on wrenches. Definitely. Everyone's got to have a set of these. Everyone's got to have a set of these, and everyone's got to have a set of these. Okay. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? What are your most used wrenches? Let me know if you agree with me. And guys, if you guys have seen any of my other videos, I appreciate you guys' support. The upcoming videos are going to be kind of business related. I want to talk about running a business, how to get good reviews on Yelp, how to be professional, just all kinds of stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, please stick around, and thanks for watching.